was going through a real interesting time in my spiritual life because I had uh, made some mistakes in my life and uh, was really seeking God's will because I felt like I had uh, lost the perfect will for my life that God had, and it had to be His permissive will. And I was praying every day that the Lord would restore my ability to share and live the life in front of people that I should live. I was going by the church every afternoon when I got off work and pray and ask God to show me things that I could do to serve Him better and share Him. And I asked Him, or I promised Him that each day I would try to make an opportunity or let an opportunity present itself for me to share Him with someone. And one morning, I got off the city bus to walk about a half block to the bank where I worked. As I was walking from the old Walgreens drugstore corner down to the middle of the block on Ryan Street, something inside me said, go across the street and tell Mr. Watson I love him. And I looked across the street, and there was this man hanging on one of those parking meters. And he looked like he was just, if he couldn't have stood up if he hadn't had that parking meter holding him up. He was completely leaning on it. And I said, oh, Lord, I can't do that. He'll think I'm crazy. Well, I took a few more steps, and then the same thing said, go across the street and tell Mr. Watson I love him. And I said, ooh, I can't. But my heart really started beating fast, and I was getting very near where he was. And the third time, this voice said, go across the street and tell Mr. Watson God loves you. Turn on your heels and go to work. Don't say another word. So, when I got even with him across the street, and I walked over there, and I looked him straight in the eye, and he looked like he had an expression on his face like he had lost every friend he had in this world. And I said, Mr. Watson, God loves you. And I turned on my heels and went to work. And thank goodness, because my heart sure did feel better, and I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I got busy with my work. And about noon, I looked up from my work, and there was Mr. Watson standing in the lobby of the bank. And I got up and I went over there and I said, Mr. Watson, are you okay? He said, I came to tell you that I know it was God who sent you to tell me that He loved me, because knowing you, you would not have done that on your own. You wouldn't have known to do that on your own. And he said, I want to tell you what I was standing there holding on that parking meter trying to decide was that I was going to walk to the top of the I-10 bridge and jump off and kill myself, because I just couldn't, I just felt like I couldn't handle it anymore. But he said, after you told me that, and I realized that God still loved me, and that He didn't want me to do that. And He had work for me to do. And so he said, I want to thank you because you literally saved my life. I said, Mr. Watson, I didn't do that on my own because I can't, but God sent me to tell you that. And it happened at a time in my life when I wondered if I would ever be useful to God anymore or would be able to hear his voice and follow his lead. So that day I realized God didn't only rescue Mr. Watson, but he rescued me spiritually because it let me know that you may make mistakes in your life and ask God's forgiveness, and you don't feel like maybe you've been forgiven or that you're useful. But I realized that God showed me I really learned a bigger lesson than Mr. Watson because God never leaves us. And we can't do anything bad enough to keep his love from us. And if we're willing, he will always give us opportunities to share his word and his love with people. And so it really renewed me and gave me great courage to really be a daily witness for him.